250 million years ago, before the time of the dinosaur. This is not a reptile, nor a dinosaur, but an early relative of mammals, Inostrancevia. The Great Dying, the Permian extinction. The most catastrophic extinction event in the history of the planet. Those that now die usher in the birth of a new era with a new cast of characters. The Dinosaur Revolution is about to begin. We live on a dinosaur planet. It is they, not us, who shape the world we know. But much of what we knew about dinosaurs is wrong. Now, a revolution in science has transformed their story, forcing us to look at dinosaurs in revolutionary new ways. Dinosaurs were more like birds than giant lizards. They may have nurtured their young, courted their mates, teamed up to kill their competition, and were very successful for a very long time.
Within the past generation, almost everything we thought we knew about dinosaurs has been demonstrated wrong.
Before the Dinosaur Revolution, people used to refer to dinosaurs as evolutionary dead ends or evolutionary mistakes, but nothing could be further from the truth. Dinosaurs are still with us in the form of birds, and if you count up the species, birds outnumber mammals more than 2 to 1.
When people refer to dinosaurs as evolutionary failures, it flat out makes me angry. There couldn't be a worse example of an evolutionary failure.
Just how did dinosaurs take over the planet? It may have been simply a matter of breeding. The Permian extinction wiped out most of the Earth's population. But 20 million years later, life has rebounded. Herds of large proto-mammals called dicynodonts roam the land. Early dinosaurs, like Eoraptor, are outnumbered 10 to 1. is more deadly competition. Saurosuchus, a giant forerunner of the modern-day crocodile. Welcome to the Eoraptor version of a singles bar. In this dance, the females take the lead. The inspection process begins. As is so often the case, the females call the mating shots. One proto-mammal's loss is our lucky Eoraptor's gain. And their adventures are just beginning. Having babies is just the first step. Keeping them alive is a much bigger problem, even for a monster mother of the sea. When the revolution continues. Dinosaurs didn't rule the Earth for 135 million years without some innovative strategies for perpetuating the species.
Beginning in the 1980s, we started to find more and more nests and eggs of dinosaurs. We can now say with some confidence that they looked after their young.
And they may have looked after those young in far more sophisticated ways than we once believed.
It's possible that Eoraptor, as far back as the late Triassic, was already engaging in a higher level of parental care than we had seen up to that point in time.
You're ensuring or helping to ensure that your genes get passed on. And that's why parental care is a very adaptive strategy. It's a great advantage for animals that practice it.
But they couldn't become parents without eggs. And those eggs, then, as now, are tempting targets for predators. Proboscidon, a wolverine-like forebear of the first mammals. Just one baby emerges from the nest. Like some modern birds, not only the mothers, but the fathers may have been involved in protecting the offspring. dinosaurs will eventually beat the odds and come to dominate the planet. Their genes will not only be passed on, but this family group behavior may help these early dinosaurs pull ahead. But if a family is what you need to succeed, getting the right mate is vital to survival. As the dinosaur revolution continues, there's a new arms race on all around the planet. This one about gearing up not just for war, but for love. When the revolution continues. The revolution in dinosaur science tells us new things about how dinosaurs behaved, but also about how they looked. For instance, dinosaurs may have been brightly colored.
So one of the big modern discoveries is the fact that dinosaurs saw in color, and that probably dinosaurs should be shown as colorful. Not all of them and not all the time, but certainly color must have played a role amongst dinosaurs.
Like birds, these colors may have been brightest in the male of the species for a specific courting ritual. And those rituals may have been as strange as the creatures that engaged in them.
Gigantoraptor, if you can imagine, is a beaked, toothless, 15, 17 foot tall turkey for all intents and purposes.
And Gigantoraptor wasn't just gigantic. He may have had other visual tricks on display.
Because dinosaurs almost certainly had the bird-like eyes that could see so much intensity of color, far more than mammals like us have. The visual appearance of a male Gigantoraptor would be far more spectacular than we can see even by bringing it to life in animation.
Mongolia, 70 million years ago. Meet Gigantoraptor, a creature on a mission. Head count. One's missing. dinosaurs aren't the only creatures who take care of their families. But Gigantoraptor needs to find a mate before he can even think about a family. Even after the most dazzling display gets you a mate, fathering a nest full of young can still end in failure if someone else wants what you have. When the revolution continues. The Dinosaur Revolution has driven science to startling new conclusions about how dinosaurs lived, and many of the most significant new findings are coming from entirely unexpected new locations.
To me, the most exciting thing in paleontology is simply that we have so much of the world left to explore. Antarctica is, in a lot of ways, the final frontier in dinosaur paleontology.
The ice of Antarctica has disgorged incredible new fossil discoveries. Among those discoveries is one of the earliest large carnivorous dinosaurs, a bizarre creature from the early Jurassic named Cryolophosaurus.
You gotta love Cryolophosaurus. I mean, it wasn't nicknamed Elvosaurus for nothing. It's got the beautiful comb crest hanging over. Just a fascinating looking animal.
So the question naturally is, what did it do with such a crest? If the size of the crest was related to how healthy the animal was, it would have been a way of saying, I'm a really successful Cryolophosaurus. You'd like my genes.
A female Cryolophosaurus inspects her eggs. The male helps. Or tries to. Another male appears. He's larger, with a bigger crest, and he takes advantage of the situation. Color flushing can attract a mate, but it can also terrify a rival. All traces of a previous bloodline must be eliminated. Even today, there is no starker assertion of power than this, eliminating the progeny of a competitor. It's the law of the jungle.
So in the animal world, it's very common to see males competing against each other for access to females. So animals will risk life and limb to make sure that their genes get on to the next generation.
The new lion's first job is to kill the cubs of his predecessor. That sounds very cruel. It is cruel, but it makes a lot of evolutionary sense. Kill those babies and start generating a new brood of your own among the females, and then you can take care of your own descendants. Because remember, that's what success is in evolution.
That's why keeping your young alive is worth a battle to the death, even if it means taking on a pack of hungry sharks. When the revolution continues. Sometimes, details hidden inside the bones reveal the secrets to a species' evolutionary success. Here, a fossil is evidence of a prehistoric battle. A tooth from one of the largest predators ever to swim in the Earth's seas, the 45-foot-long mosasaur. Not a dinosaur, but a marine lizard. A mosasaur had more than 70 of these lethal teeth. And it knew how to use them. But on this tooth, a bite mark can be found. Something tried to kill a killer, and the shape of this bite impression proves it. This mosasaur tooth was bitten by a shark. Now, what could drive a shark to bite a huge mosasaur? "75 million years ago, the late Cretaceous. A vast inland sea covers what is now the Great Plains of Western North America. While dinosaurs were taking over the land, some reptiles like mosasaurs had returned to the sea. But, unlike most reptiles, the mosasaur bears her young live, far from shore and far from attacks by land-based predators. Another of evolution's winners, then, as now, a killer. mosasaur weighs 10 tons. It can swim at speeds up to 30 miles per hour and is very, very deadly. Millions of years ago, a mother's protective instinct is a force of nature that can change the world. But a lone male is an evolutionary dead end, especially if another one is hunting him. When the revolution continues. By the time of the early Jurassic, dinosaurs had become the dominant creatures on the planet, partly because of their successful mating strategies. They may have lived in families and nurtured their young. And for many types of dinosaurs, this family could become an extended one.
Some dinosaurs lived in massive herds of dozens, potentially even hundreds of animals. Some dinosaurs lived in smaller groups, what they call harems, where a male would control a group of females.
For those in the herd, there would be safety in numbers. But for those on the outside, it was a dangerous world. And even in a world of giants, there were hidden threats. A herd of Glacialosaurus, ancestors to the giant sauropods. Their giraffe-like necks are perfect for reaching high branches and the sweet resin. A male attempts to attract one of the herd's females. But the master of the harem drives him off. Without a herd of his own, this male becomes a target. We have met this crested Cryolophosaurus before. Now he wants dinner. And he is not alone. A mud bath may not look attractive, but it serves as an organic bug repellent. A little bad luck goes a long way. Meet the harem's new master. Dinosaurs and giant reptiles ruled the Earth for 135 million years. They must have done something right.
Dinosaurs are frequently portrayed as the poster children for failure. If it's like a dinosaur, it's dead, it's extinct. This is completely wrong-headed based on what we know today.
The story of dinosaurs isn't the story of a rise and fall. It's a success story that began 230 million years ago and that continues today.
Is the dinosaur revolution over? By no means. There are all sorts of new frontiers that are opening in dinosaur studies. The biggest new frontier is what we haven't thought of yet.
The Dinosaur Revolution is just beginning.